it's not as bad as Transformers 2.
With a K review.
It's VIC?
No, it's with a K.
Oh.
You know, it's really weird when I go to see movies, I expect certain things from certain directors. I expect Steven Spielberg to give me a great story, great cinematography, great direction. I expect Christopher Nolan to give me some dark and gritty and something that really hits at the soul of comic books and even any other live action stuff that he does. And when I go to see Michael Bay movies, like you, I expect to see explosions, women, explosions, and robots. Now, I expected just about the same from this movie, Transformers: The Last Night, because with all the trailers, I mean, like, there's the fireworks explosions and everything like that, but I wanted to see something different, and I really thought I saw that in the trailers because I saw Anthony Hopkins was in this, and he plays like this really old guy, he's like a historian, and he is one of the things that I thought when I went to go see this movie that I was going to latch onto that was going to make this better than the one before. Now, in the last Transformers movie, like, there was a lot of hectic stuff. I did feel like it was better of the Transformers, and that's putting that really lightly. When you get upset with the director, or when you get upset with the series, or you get upset with anything in movies that you don't like, you tend to judge all those movies the same that's coming from that director. And when I think about it, should I be doing this? Should I keep going to these Michael Bay movies to where I know what's going to happen? I know what I'm paying for, I know what I'm going to get, and is that good? Am I continuing in some sort of weird little cycle? And the answer is yes. Yes, I am.
You're so stupid!
For me now, it's almost like when a new Saw movie comes out, or a new Fast and the Furious movie comes out. These are the same things over and over again with just little things that are changed and maybe some things that are upgraded. Like, Fast and Furious was getting bored, and then they added The Rock, and then it was awesome. And Saw was pretty cool, and then it just started to get shitty. And for this new Transformers movie, I kind of thought Anthony Hopkins was going to be that rock inject into the movie to make it better, to make it more interesting, maybe to bring it down to earth a little bit more. And for a little bit in the movie, he kind of was. Like, Anthony Hopkins has a certain, like, je ne sais quoi. Now, there are a ton of things like that are wrong and right in this movie. There are certain like aspects of it that I did like, and there are certain things that I didn't like. Mark Wahlberg in this movie, I didn't understand why was now the main character again. Like in the last movie, he was kind of dry, but he kind of helped drive the movie. He had things with the robots. He also had things with other sub-characters in the movie that he was fighting with. But in this movie, didn't seem to really have anything kind of like going against him or anything like that. Like his daughter's in college and he can't talk to her anymore. She's never there. And the only thing that he really interacted with was this other like historian that was a woman who was, of course, very attractive. Now, she wasn't completely Michael Bayed, or as I like to call, Bayed, which is now a new term. But even her in the movie, she was actually semi-decent. Now, there's nowhere near nobody in this movie absolutely does not come to the level of Anthony Hopkins. Like, he's good in all of his scenes. Towards the end, it got a little weird. But I kind of enjoyed his banter with her. But there was one part of this movie that I didn't understand, is that there's two parts. There was a part where this little girl who's in all the trailers, who's like this, female lead, like she's the strong, independent girl who you don't really see as a girl, who she's now a woman. And I thought they were going to have her throughout the entire movie. And it turns out that her and another guy were in the beginning for 40 minutes, and then they were at the end for 30 minutes. And that's what really bothered me, is that this movie had an ability to kind of maybe overuse those characters, or maybe just use them a little bit more, but they just didn't have anything that they were doing with them. And that's what a lot of this movie is, that they don't do a lot with a whole lot of these characters. They just have them there. Like, there's a lot of Decepticons that show up for like 3 scenes and then poof, they're gone. And from scene to scene, it's very frantic. Like, it's not like with the second Transformers movie. That movie was just, it was so mind-numbing. Like, I love explosions. Please don't get me wrong. We all kind of like explosions. We like mindless action and everything like that, but the second one was just like, it was like somebody gave Michael Bay heroin, ecstasy, and then like a little can of Red Bull and said, go. But in this movie, he kind of kept himself down a little bit. Like, it was still frantic editing and stuff like that, but I kind of felt like it was better than, that second one, but not by much. And I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to go and enjoy it, but by the end of this movie, I just realized that there was really no characters. There's even a character called Quintessa. Now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with like old video games, but there's a character in a movie called System Shock, and that character looked just like Quintessa, and I couldn't stop like comparing them on how they looked. But she didn't really have like a whole lot in the movie. Like she has stuff where she influences Optimus Prime, and he's trying to find, the stick. Literally, the movie is find the stick. Even Mark Wahlberg, I kind of feel like he doesn't have anything really to go for in the movie. Like he fights the robots, he fights the Decepticons, and he has, the Autobots on his side, but even like the Autobots, it seems like everybody has been whittled down over these past couple of movies, and there's just not a whole lot that I really could connect with in it. But does that mean that this is a bad movie? That means this is a garbage movie? A little bit. There are certain parts of this movie that I did like. There are some action scenes that I thought were really cool. The beginning of this movie was just like irritating, like they were going for this really somber, dramatic thing, and all of a sudden they started throwing in jokes everywhere. And that's what it was for like the rest of the movie. I want people to understand that this is a Michael Bay movie. This is not the worst of the trilogy, of this whole 5-movie thing here. The first movie of the Transformers was awesome. I liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the pacing. I liked just everything about it. The second one, we won't talk about that one. That's a Spider-Man 3. But this 5th Transformers movie is just not something that I would really go see again. I wouldn't even go see this. Even if it was playing for free on TV, I wouldn't watch it again. Maybe just for some of the action sequences, but in general, there's no story. There's just a lot of the same old thing with Michael Bay, but I expect that. I expect that from Michael Bay now. When now 13 Hours, when he did that movie was way different than what Michael Bay usually does. I would recommend that you go see 13 Hours first and then go see this Transformers movie so you can understand the way Michael Bay shifted from, like he goes to Michael Bay stuff to actual normal stuff sometimes. So altogether, I think I'm going to give Transformers The Last Night, I'm going to give this just a 2K, and it's just going to be a regular 2K. So I want you guys, if you want to, go see it for really cheap in the theater, and when it comes out on video, when it comes out on the box, and even when it comes out on streaming, just do this in gradual, because it's not the greatest, it's not the worst, but it's just a Michael Bay movie, and yeah. Thanks guys for watching my review. I do appreciate all the viewers, subscribers that I do have. Make sure to hit that like button, and make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. And leave me a little whacked out comment below and let me know, what is your favorite Autobot and who's your favorite Decepticon? Mine was kind of Starscream in the old one, and the first one, Autobots, I would have to say probably Optimus Prime is one of my favorites, just because he always had that trailer. It just made him look really cool. But yeah, never forget, if you don't like what you're watching, you can always turn it off. But thanks for coming back and seeing me. Now check this out.